Bear cub caught in an oil spill. Suddenly set ablaze, what this baby did was shocking. Let us know where you're watching from. If you love my content, consider supporting it with a super thanks. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It'll help us to remain in touch with amazing people like you. The black oil spread across the beach like death itself. It was thick and sticky, covering everything it touched. The waves tried to wash it away but only made it worse. The oil spread further with each push of the tide. Maya Sullivan walked toward the shore. Her feet were bare. The sand felt cold between her toes. She carried her baby daughter in her arms. Little Rosie was only 14 months old. She had bright eyes that seemed to understand everything around her. Her tiny fingers reached out toward the water. Maya held her tighter. Something was wrong today. The beach was too quiet. Even the seagulls stayed away. "Don't worry, sweetheart," Maya whispered to Rosie. But she felt worried herself. The oil spill had happened 2 days ago. A tanker had hit rocks half a mile out. Now their beautiful beach was ruined. The cleanup crews had left for the day. Maya shouldn't have come here, but she needed to see it for herself. That's when she heard it, a sound that made her blood freeze. It was a cry, not human, animal, small and desperate. Maya turned her head, searching. The cry came again, louder this time, more frightened. "What's that, Mama?" Rosie babbled in her baby talk. She pointed with her chubby finger toward the rocks. Maya saw it then, a small dark shape struggling near the water's edge. At first she thought it was debris, then it moved. It was alive. A bear cub. Its fur was matted with oil. The poor creature tried to stand but kept slipping. Its cries grew more desperate with each attempt. "Oh no," Maya breathed. Where was the mother bear? She looked around quickly. No sign of an adult bear. That was both good and bad. Good because a mother bear was dangerous. Bad because this cub was alone and dying. Maya took a step closer, then another. The cub saw her and cried harder. It tried to run but couldn't. The oil held it like glue. Its eyes were wild with fear. Maya's heart broke. She had to do something. But what? She had Rosie in her arms. She couldn't put her baby down on this poisoned beach. Suddenly, voices echoed from behind the dunes. Men's voices, laughing. 3 figures appeared. They carried beer bottles and stumbled as they walked. Their faces were red from drinking. One of them pointed at the cub and laughed harder. "Look at that," he shouted. "Little bear got itself in trouble." Maya held Rosie tighter. Something about these men made her nervous. They were too loud, too careless. One of them fumbled with something in his pocket. He pulled out a lighter. Maya's stomach dropped. "Hey," another man said. "You know what would be funny?" Number Maya wanted to scream, but her voice stuck in her throat. The man with the lighter grinned. It was an ugly grin, mean. He picked up a stick from the beach, wrapped some dry grass around it, lit it with his lighter. The small flame danced in the wind. "Don't." Maya finally found her voice. But it was weak. They didn't hear her, or didn't care. The man threw the burning stick. It landed right next to the oil-covered cub. For a second, nothing happened. Then the oil caught fire. The flames spread instantly across the cub's fur. The animal's cries turned to screams. Terrible, high-pitched screams that cut through the air like knives. Maya gasped. Rosie started crying. The men just stood there, watching. One even took out his phone to record. The cub rolled in the sand, trying to put out the flames. But the oil kept burning. The fire grew bigger, hotter. The smell of burning fur filled the air. Maya looked around frantically. There was a bucket near the rocks, left by the cleanup crew. She ran toward it, still holding Rosie, the baby's cries mixed with the cub's screams. Maya's hand shook as she tried to reach the bucket, but she couldn't. Not while holding her daughter. She had to make a choice. Put Rosie down on the contaminated sand or let the cub burn. Her mind raced. The men were still laughing, still recording. The cub's movements were getting weaker, its screams quieter. Time was running out. Maya found a relatively clean spot on a flat rock. She set Rosie down carefully. The baby immediately tried to crawl toward the burning cub. "No, stay here," Maya commanded. She grabbed the bucket and ran to the water's edge, filled it with seawater. The weight surprised her. Water was heavy. She struggled back toward the cub, but as she got closer, she stopped. The mother bear had arrived, massive, furious. Her eyes locked on her burning cub, then on the men, then on Maya. The bear's roar shook the beach. The men's laughter died instantly. They dropped their beer bottles and phones, started backing away. Maya stood frozen, bucket in hand. The mother bear took a step toward her cub. Another roar. This one aimed at Maya, but behind Maya, Rosie had managed to crawl off the rock. The baby was moving toward the burning cub with determination that seemed impossible for her age. Her tiny hands reached out as if to help. "Rosie, no!" Maya screamed. But something strange happened. The mother bear saw the baby, saw her trying to help. The massive animal paused. Her roars softened to confused grunts. She looked between her burning cub and the human baby crawling toward it. In that moment of hesitation, Rosie did something that changed everything. She picked up a handful of wet sand with her tiny fists, threw it at the flames on the cub. It wasn't much, barely made a difference, but the gesture was clear. The baby was trying to save the cub. The mother bear's eyes changed. The fury was still there, but now mixed with something else. Understanding, hope. She didn't attack. Instead, she watched as Maya finally unfroze and threw the bucket of water on her cub. The flames hissed and died. Smoke rose from the cub's singed fur, but it wasn't enough. The cub was badly burned, still covered in oil, still crying weakly. And now the mother bear was stepping closer. Not to attack, but to reach her baby. Her massive paws would crush anything in her path, including Rosie, who sat right next to the injured cub, patting its head with her tiny hands. The men had run away, leaving their phones behind. It was just Maya, Rosie, the cub, and the mother bear. 4 beings connected by tragedy and compassion. The sun was setting. The beach grew darker, and Maya realized this was far from over. The baby cub needed help. Real help, medical attention. But how could they move it? How could they save it? The mother bear wouldn't let strangers near. Unless... Maya looked at her daughter. Rosie was still patting the cub, making soft cooing sounds. The mother bear watched intently. Not threatening, just watching. Waiting. As if she understood that this human baby might be her cub's only hope. The oil still glistened on the beach. The waves still crashed against the rocks, but something had shifted, something important. Maya took a deep breath. She had to think, had to act. The cub's life depended on it. And maybe, in some strange way, so did theirs. The mother bear took another step forward. Her massive paw sank into the oily sand. She made a sound, not a roar, not a growl, something softer, almost like a whimper. She was calling to her cub. The little one tried to respond but only managed a weak cry. Its fur was still smoking. The smell made Maya's eyes water. Rosie didn't seem afraid at all. The baby crawled closer to the injured cub. She reached out with both hands now, touched the cub's face gently. The mother bear's eyes followed every movement. Maya held her breath. One wrong move, and those powerful jaws could snap. But the bear didn't attack. She just watched. "Mama Bear's sad," Rosie said in her baby voice. She looked up at the massive animal, then back at the cub. "Baby hurt." Maya's heart pounded. Her daughter was right. The mother bear was sad, desperate, confused. The animal's eyes held an intelligence Maya hadn't expected, almost human in their grief. The bear knew her cub was dying, knew she couldn't help, not with her huge paws, not with her limited understanding of burns and oil. A memory flashed through Maya's mind. Her grandmother's voice, years ago, telling stories about the old days, when humans and animals understood each other better, when respect flowed both ways. Sometimes, her grandmother had said, the wild ones know when we mean no harm. They can sense a pure heart. Maya looked at Rosie. If anyone had a pure heart, it was her baby girl. The child who cried when flowers wilted, who tried to feed birds with her breakfast, who hugged trees and talked to clouds. Maybe that's why the bear hadn't attacked. Maybe she sensed Rosie's innocence. The wind picked up. It carried the smoke away from them. Also brought new sounds, voices, different from the drunk men. These were urgent, official. The cleanup crew was coming back. Or maybe someone had called for help. Either way, people were approaching. The mother bear heard it too. Her head snapped up, ears alert. A low rumble started in her chest. She moved closer to her cub, protective, ready to fight. Maya knew this was bad. If the crew arrived now, someone might get hurt. The bear would defend her baby. People would panic. Someone might have a gun. "Wait," Maya said out loud, to herself, to the bear, to the universe. "Please, wait." She had an idea, crazy, dangerous, but maybe their only chance. Maya looked around quickly. The drunk men's phones lay abandoned in the sand. One was still recording. She grabbed it. The screen showed everything. The burning cub, Rosie trying to help, the mother bear's desperate eyes. Maya started talking to the phone. "This is Maya Sullivan. I'm at Crescent Beach. There's an injured bear cub here, covered in oil, burned. The mother is here too. She's not attacking. My baby daughter is somehow keeping her calm. We need help, veterinary help, but approach carefully, very carefully." She kept recording. Showed the cub's injuries. Showed Rosie still petting it gently. Showed the mother bear watching. Not threatening, just watching. Waiting. Trusting, maybe, or just too desperate to care anymore. The voices were getting closer. Maya could make out words now. "Saw smoke. Someone said bears. Careful with the equipment." The mother bear's rumbling grew louder. She stood up fully, all 8 feet of her, muscles tensed, ready to charge, ready to protect. Maya's mouth went dry. This was it, the moment everything could go wrong. But Rosie did something unexpected. The baby stood up, wobbled on her unsteady legs, walked right up to the mother bear. Maya's scream caught in her throat. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Her baby was inches from those massive claws. Rosie reached up. Her tiny hand touched the bear's leg. "No, scared," she said clearly. "Help, baby." The bear looked down. Those powerful jaws could end Rosie's life in a second. Instead, the animal made that soft sound again, almost like a sigh. She lowered her massive head, sniffed Rosie's hair, then, incredibly, sat down, right there in the oily sand, still alert, still protective, but no longer ready to attack. Maya finally breathed. Her knees shook. She wanted to grab Rosie, pull her away, but she understood this was a moment of trust, fragile, precious. One wrong move could shatter it. The first person appeared over the dune. A woman in a cleanup crew uniform. She stopped dead when she saw the scene. Her mouth fell open. Behind her, others were coming. They all froze at the sight. A massive bear, a baby girl, an injured cub, a mother holding a phone, recording everything. "Nobody move," Maya called out, her voice stronger now. "The bear isn't attacking. She's letting us help her cub, but we need a vet, someone who knows about wildlife. The cub is badly burned." The woman from the cleanup crew nodded slowly. She pulled out a radio, spoke quietly into it. "We need wildlife rescue at Crescent Beach. Immediately. Injured bear cub, mother present but cooperating." Yes, you heard right, cooperating. More people appeared. They kept their distance, formed a wide circle. Everyone was recording now. Phones pointed at the incredible scene. Rosie still stood next to the mother bear, one tiny hand on the massive leg, the other reaching toward the injured cub. "Where's the vet?" Maya asked. Her arms ached to grab Rosie, to run, to get away from this insane situation. But she couldn't. Not now, not when they were so close to helping. "Coming," the crew woman said. "Dr. Foster's on his way. He was treating seabirds from the spill. 5 minutes out. 5 minutes." Maya counted her breaths, watched her daughter, watched the bear. The cub's cries were getting weaker, its eyes starting to close. Number. They couldn't lose it now, not after all this. "Hey," Maya said softly to the cub. "Stay awake. Help is coming. Your mama is here, Rosie is here, we're all here." The mother bear looked at Maya, really looked at her. Their eyes met across the space, mother to mother. Fear to fear, love to love. Something passed between them, understanding, agreement. They would save this cub, together. The cleanup crew woman was talking on her radio again. "Need to clear a path. Yes. The mother bear is right there. No, I'm not joking. The baby is, you have to see it to believe it." Maya kept recording. This needed to be documented. Not for fame, not for money, but because moments like this mattered. Moments when the walls between species crumbled. When compassion trumped fear. When a baby's pure heart could calm a wild mother's rage. The cub whimpered again. Tried to move. The oil still coated its fur, mixed with blood now from the burns. Rosie made a distressed sound. She looked at her mother. "Mama, help baby bear." Maya nodded. "We are, sweetheart. We are." But were they? Time was running out. The vet was still minutes away. The cub was fading. The mother bear was getting restless. Standing up again, Rosie had to step back. The massive animal bent down, nosed her cub, trying to wake it, to keep it alive. That's when Maya heard it. A car engine, different from the cleanup trucks. Faster, more urgent. A door slammed, footsteps running. A man appeared, carrying a medical bag. He was young, Asian features, nervous but determined. "I'm Dr. Foster," he called out. "Where's the... oh my God." He saw the scene, stopped short, took it all in, the circle of people, the mother bear, the baby girl who seemed impossibly calm, the injured cub. Maya still recording everything. "The mother bear is allowing contact," Maya said quickly. "My daughter has, somehow, gained her trust, but we need to help the cub now." Dr. Foster nodded. He understood. This was unprecedented, dangerous, but necessary. He opened his bag, pulled on gloves, took out supplies, all while watching the mother bear, calculating, planning. "I need to get closer," he said, "to examine the cub. Will she let me?" Maya looked at Rosie, her baby girl who had started all this, who had thrown sand at flames, who had touched a wild bear and lived, who had created this impossible moment of trust. "Rosie," Maya said softly, "can you help the doctor? Show the mama bear he's here to help?" Rosie nodded solemnly. She took Dr. Foster's hand, led him forward, step by step. The mother bear watched every movement. Her muscles coiled, ready to strike, but she didn't. She allowed the approach. Dr. Foster knelt by the cub. His hands moved quickly but gently, checking vitals, assessing burns. The cub's breathing was shallow, weak, but still there, still fighting. Second-degree burns on approximately 30% of the body, he said, mostly to himself. Oil contamination in the airways, dehydration, shock. He looked up, met Maya's eyes. We need to move him. Now he needs intensive care. Move the cub. With the mother bear right there, it seemed impossible. But Rosie was already acting. She patted the mother bear's leg again, pointed to the cub, then to the doctor. Help, baby, she said simply. Go, doctor. The mother bear made a sound. Confused, worried, but not aggressive. She understood something was happening, something important. Her cub needed more than she could give. We need a transport cage, Dr. Foster said, and someone very brave to help me lift the cub. Maya stepped forward. I'll do it. No, said a voice from the crowd. A man emerged, tall, weathered face, indigenous features. I'll do it. I know these bears. This is my land, my responsibility. He walked forward slowly, hands visible, no sudden movements. He spoke softly in a language Maya didn't recognize. The mother bear's ears perked up. She tilted her head, listening. What are you saying? Dr. Foster asked. Old words, the man replied. Words my grandfather taught me. Words for the Bear Clan, asking for permission, for trust, for partnership. He continued speaking. The rhythm was soothing, almost like a song. The mother bear's posture relaxed slightly. She stepped back, just a little, just enough. Now, the man said. We move quickly. Doctor, you support the head, I'll take the body, the little one keeps the mother calm. They moved as one. Lifting the injured cub carefully, it cried out weakly. The mother bear stepped forward, stopped, stepped back, torn between instinct and trust. Rosie kept her hand on the bear's leg. Okay, she repeated. Help, baby, okay. They carried the cub to a special carrier Dr. Foster had brought. Padded, ventilated, as safe as possible. The mother bear followed every movement. When they closed the carrier door, she made a mournful sound, pushed against it with her nose. She needs to come too, the indigenous man said. To the center. She won't leave her cub. Dr. Foster looked worried. A wild bear in the rescue center? That's ... Necessary, Maya finished. She's trusting us, we can't betray that. The crowd murmured. This was getting more incredible by the minute. A wild bear following her cub to a vet center, allowing human treatment. It was unheard of, but the indigenous man was already leading the way, speaking those old words, walking backward, keeping eye contact with the mother bear. She followed, step by step, away from the beach, toward the parking lot, toward help. Maya picked up Rosie. Finally, held her close. Her baby had done something extraordinary, something that would be talked about for years, maybe forever. They followed the strange procession, the doctor with the carrier, the man guiding the bear, the crowd keeping a respectful distance. The rescue center van was waiting. Back doors open, they loaded the carrier inside. The mother bear watched, whimpered, wanted to follow but couldn't jump that high. There's a ramp in the truck, someone called out, for loading equipment. They got the ramp, set it up. The mother bear understood immediately. She walked up into the van, settled next to her cub's carrier. The indigenous man climbed in too, still speaking those calming words. I'm coming, Maya said, with Rosie. She's the one who started this. The bear trusts her. Dr. Foster nodded. We'll need all the help we can get. This is unprecedented. A wild bear voluntarily entering captivity for medical treatment. If we can save the cub... He didn't finish, didn't need to. Everyone understood. This was bigger than one injured animal. This was about connection, trust, the possibility that humans and wildlife could coexist, could help each other, could bridge the gap that civilization had created. They drove carefully. The mother bear stayed calm, occasionally nosed the carrier, checking on her cub. Rosie had fallen asleep in Maya's arms, exhausted by her extraordinary day, but even in sleep she mumbled, "Help, baby bear, mama bear sad." The rescue center appeared ahead, lights on, staff waiting. They'd been warned, prepared. As much as anyone could prepare for this. A wild bear, coming voluntarily, trusting humans with her most precious thing, her baby. Dr. Foster was on his phone, giving instructions. Set up the large treatment room. Yes, the mother will be present. No, I'm not kidding. Get Dr. Sarah. We'll need her expertise, and call Professor Martinez. He'll want to document this. They pulled into the center. The mother bear tensed. New smells, strange sounds. But the indigenous man kept talking, kept calming, and Rosie woke up, looked around, saw the bear's worried eyes. "Okay," the little girl said, reaching out. "Help baby here, good place." The bear looked at the child, at her cub's carrier, at the humans waiting to help. She made a decision, followed them out of the van, into the building, into the unknown. Because sometimes trust is all we have, and sometimes it's enough. The treatment room was ready, bright lights, medical equipment. The team moved the cub onto the examination table. The mother bear stood in the corner, watching, allowing. The indigenous man stayed with her, still speaking those ancient words. Dr. Foster worked quickly. 4 lines for fluids, oxygen for the damaged lungs, careful cleaning of the burns, pain medication, antibiotics. All while the mother bear watched, sometimes growling softly, sometimes whimpering, but never attacking, never interfering. "The burns are bad," Dr. Foster said, "but not fatal. If we can prevent infection, manage the pain, support his breathing." He worked for an hour, then 2. The cub stabilized, started breathing easier. The burns were cleaned, dressed, the oil carefully removed from its fur. It was a long process, delicate, crucial. Maya held Rosie. They sat on the floor, away from the action but present. The mother bear would look at them occasionally, as if checking, making sure the humans who started this were still there, still caring. "Mama," Rosie said sleepily, "Bear Mama loves baby like you love me." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, sweetheart, exactly like that." The cub opened its eyes, weak but aware. It made a small sound. The mother bear was there instantly, nuzzling through the oxygen mask, careful of the IV lines. Her relief was visible, tangible, human in its intensity. "He'll need weeks of treatment," Dr. Foster said. "Maybe months. The burns will heal slowly, the lung damage from the oil." He trailed off, looking at the mother bear. The question hung in the air. Would she stay? Could she stay? A wild bear in a rescue center for weeks. The indigenous man spoke. "She'll stay, as long as her cub needs her. This is unprecedented, yes. But these are unprecedented times, the oil spill, the fire, the trust she's shown. We must honor that." Dr. Foster nodded. They would make it work, somehow. A wild bear and her cub, healing together, trusting humans. It would change everything, how they thought about wildlife, about coexistence, about what was possible. The news was already spreading. The videos from the beach going viral. A baby girl and a bear cub, fire and water, fear and trust. The world was watching, waiting, hoping. But in that treatment room, none of that mattered. There was just a mother and her injured baby, humans trying to help. A little girl who saw no barriers between species, and a moment of grace that reminded everyone what compassion could do. The cub would live. They all knew it now. Too much love in that room for any other outcome. Too much hope. Too much faith in the impossible. Because sometimes that's what it takes. Faith in the impossible. And the pure heart of a child to show the way. The first night was the hardest. The cub needed constant monitoring. The mother bear refused to leave its side. She lay on the floor next to the treatment table, her massive head resting near her baby. Every time the cub whimpered, she was there, nuzzling, comforting, being a mother. Maya and Rosie stayed too. The center had a small room for overnight observations. They made a bed there. Rosie wouldn't leave without saying goodnight to both bears. The staff worried about safety. But the indigenous man, who said his name was Joseph Whitehawk, assured them. "The bear has accepted the child," he said. "In the old stories, this happens sometimes. A human child pure enough to bridge the worlds. Your daughter has that gift." Maya didn't understand it, didn't try to. She just watched as Rosie toddled over to the mother bear, patted the massive head. "Night-night, Mama Bear. Baby bear, get better." The bear made that soft sound again, almost like a purr. Her eyes followed Rosie as Maya carried her to bed. Trust, complete trust. It was beautiful and terrifying at once. Dr. Foster stayed all night, checking vitals, adjusting medications. The cub was responding well. Its breathing improved. The burns looked better already, clean now, no more oil. The antibiotics were working. Around 3 in the morning, something strange happened. The mother bear stood up. She'd been lying still for hours. Now she paced, back and forth, agitated. Joseph woke immediately. "What's wrong?" Dr. Foster asked. "Is she in pain?" Joseph listened, watched. The bear was making new sounds, different, urgent. "She hears something," he said. "Outside, something coming." They all froze, listened. At first, nothing. Then footsteps, multiple, heavy. The front door rattled, locked, thankfully. But someone was trying to get in. Who would come here at night? Dr. Foster whispered. Maya had a sick feeling. She remembered those drunk men from the beach, their phones, their cruel laughter. What if they'd followed? What if they wanted to finish what they started? The rattling stopped. Silence. Then a window breaking. In the front office. Definitely breaking in. The mother bear's agitation increased. She positioned herself between the door and her cub, ready to defend. "Call 911, Dr. Foster said quietly. He grabbed a sedative syringe, just in case. For the intruders, not the bear, but Joseph held up a hand. "Wait, listen." Voices now, low, urgent, not drunk, purposeful. "Said the bears were here. Worth a fortune. Chinese medicine market. That oil-covered fur. Poachers." Maya's blood ran cold. They'd heard about the bears, come to take them, dead or alive. The mother bear had sensed them coming. Animal instinct. Ancient wisdom. "Where's security?" Dr. Foster frantically whispered. "Budget cuts," someone replied. "Night guard was let go last month." They were alone. A staff, a baby, and 2 bears, against poachers who killed for profit, who saw animals as commodities, who would definitely have weapons. The mother bear growled, low, dangerous. She knew. Somehow she knew these men meant harm. Her muscles tensed, centuries of evolution preparing for battle. "No," Joseph said firmly, to the bear, to everyone. "Not here, not with the cub injured. We handle this differently." He stood up, walked to a supply closet, pulled out road flares, emergency supplies. We make light, noise, let them know we're awake, armed, ready. But Maya had another idea. She grabbed the phone from the beach, still recording, still documenting. She opened a livestream app, started broadcasting. This is Maya Sullivan at the Coastal Wildlife Rescue Center. We have intruders, poachers. They're trying to steal the injured bear cub and mother. We need help, police, anyone, please. The live stream notification went out. To everyone who'd shared the beach video, thousands, tens of thousands. Within seconds, views climbed. Comments flooded in, people calling 911, alerting authorities, creating noise online and off. The footsteps in the front office stopped. The poachers had phones too. Maybe they saw the stream, realized they were being watched, recorded, exposed. Forget it. Too hot now. Cops will be coming. Retreating footsteps. Running. A car engine starting, speeding away. But the mother bear didn't relax. She kept guarding, kept watching. She knew the danger wasn't over, might never be over. Her cub was famous now, valuable, vulnerable. Within minutes, sirens approached. Police, lots of them. The live stream had worked. Thousands of people calling, demanding protection for the bears. The story going beyond viral, global. Officers secured the building, took statements, promised round-the-clock protection. The governor called. The story had reached her office. She promised resources, security, whatever the bears needed. By morning, news vans surrounded the center. Reporters from everywhere, all wanting the story, the baby who saved a bear, the bear who trusted humans, the midnight poaching attempt, the live stream rescue. But inside, it was quiet, peaceful. The cub was awake, alert, taking water from a bottle. The mother bear helped, holding her baby steady with one massive paw while Dr. Foster fed it. Trust and cooperation. Unbelievable but real. Rosie woke up happy, unaware of the night's drama. She went straight to the bears. "Morning, baby bear better." And it was. Remarkably better. The cub tried to stand, wobbly but determined. Its mother encouraged it. Gentle pushes, soft sounds, just like any mother with a sick child. "The healing is faster than expected, Doctor," Foster said. "It's like the mother's presence is accelerating recovery. There are studies about this, emotional support affecting physical healing, but I've never seen it this dramatic." Joseph nodded. The old ways knew this. Family heals family. Love heals all. Your science is just catching up to ancient wisdom. Over the next days, a routine developed. Medical care for the cub, comfort from its mother. Visits from Rosie, who became the unofficial bear whisperer, the child who could calm both bears with a touch, a word, a smile. The center transformed. Better security, more staff. Donations poured in. Everyone wanted to help the bears. The oil spill cleanup accelerated. The beach restoration began. All because of one burned cub and the people who cared. But not everyone was happy. The oil company executives worried about publicity, about blame. Their lawyers circled. Environmental groups pushed for accountability. The bears became symbols of corporate greed, of environmental destruction, of hope and healing. Maya found herself at the center of it all. Interviews, documentaries, book deals. She turned them all down. This wasn't about fame. It was about Rosie, about teaching her daughter that compassion mattered, that one person could make a difference. The indigenous community rallied too. Joseph brought elders. They performed ceremonies, blessed the bears, shared stories. This land had been theirs. These bears their relatives. The oil spill was just the latest injury in centuries of harm. But healing is possible, Joseph said during one ceremony. Look at these bears. Look at this child. Old wounds can mend. New relationships can form if we choose love over fear. The cub grew stronger daily. Soon it was playing, carefully, gently, but playing. Its mother watched with obvious relief, pride, joy. Sometimes she'd play too, batting at toys, making the staff laugh. Who knew a massive bear could be playful? Rosie was there for all of it. She'd become part of the healing process. The bears looked for her, waited for her. The attachment was mutual. Maya worried sometimes. What would happen when the bears were released? How would Rosie handle separation? That's tomorrow's worry, Dr. Foster said. Today we heal, we learn, we change how the world sees human-animal relationships. He was documenting everything, publishing papers. The medical community was fascinated, a wild bear accepting human medical intervention, cooperating with treatment. It challenged every assumption about wildlife behavior. But the real change was smaller, personal. The security guard who'd been afraid of dogs now spent his breaks watching the bears. The janitor who'd never cared about environmental issues now volunteered for beach cleanups. The accountant who'd only seen animals as expenses now donated his bonus to wildlife protection. The bears changed people, not through force, not through fear, but through their vulnerability, their trust, their love for each other. They showed humans what family meant, what loyalty looked like, what sacrifice required. One morning, about 2 weeks after the rescue, something magical happened. The cub walked to its mother, steady now, healed enough, and began to nurse. The mother bear's eyes closed in relief. This was the moment she'd waited for. Her baby was truly recovering. Everyone in the room cried, staff, volunteers, Joseph, Maya, even Dr. Foster, who claimed he was just checking the medical equipment. It was too beautiful, too pure, life asserting itself despite everything. Rosie clapped her hands. Baby bear hungry. Mama milk. The mother bear looked at the child, made that soft sound, almost like she was sharing the joy, celebrating with her human friends, because that's what they'd become, friends, family, pack. That afternoon, Maya got a call, unexpected, from a number she didn't recognize. A woman's voice, elderly, emotional. Is this Maya Sullivan, the woman from the beach? Yes, that's me. I'm calling from Seattle. I saw everything online, the bears, your daughter. I had to call because 50 years ago I had a similar experience. Maya listened, fascinated. The woman told her story. A young mother, an injured deer, her toddler son who wouldn't let her leave it. How they'd saved it together. How it changed their lives. My son grew up to be a veterinarian, the woman said. Specializes in wildlife. He says that moment shaped everything, taught him animals were family, not just patients. She paused, emotion thick in her voice. He's flying down tomorrow, wants to help with the bears, wants to meet your daughter, to tell her she started something beautiful, something important. Maya thanked her, hung up, realized the ripples were spreading. This wasn't just about two bears anymore. It was about awakening something in humanity, something we'd almost lost. Connection, compassion, recognition that we share this world. More calls came, similar stories, people who'd saved animals, been saved by them, formed bonds that society said were impossible, but were real, were transformative, were needed now more than ever. The oil company finally responded, publicly. A press conference. The CEO, uncomfortable in front of cameras, read a prepared statement. Apologies, promises, cleanup commitments. But then he went off script. I have a daughter too, he said. She saw the video of the baby and the bears. She asked me, asked me if I was the reason the bear got hurt. I couldn't lie to her, so yes, my company's negligence caused this, and we'll make it right. Not just legally, but morally. Because my daughter is watching. All our children are watching. He announced a massive conservation fund, new safety protocols, environmental partnerships, real change, not just PR. Because 2 bears and a baby had made it personal, had made it real. The cub continued to improve, started playing rough, testing boundaries, being a normal bear child. Its mother indulged it, disciplined it, taught it. Just like any parent, the similarities were impossible to ignore. "We're not so different," Joseph said one day, watching the bears. Indigenous wisdom always knew this. Animals are our relatives, our teachers, our mirrors. Western science is just catching up. He was working with the center now, officially. Bridge between worlds, translator of hearts, because the bears needed advocates, protectors, people who understood both languages, human and wild. The day came when Dr. Foster made the announcement. The cub is healed enough. They can be released back to the wild whenever we decide. The room went quiet. Everyone knew this moment would come, had been working toward it. But now it was real. The bears would leave. Go back to the forest, the ocean, their world. But where? Their old territory was contaminated. The oil spill had poisoned miles of coastline. Their food sources were gone. Other bears had claimed new territories. There was nowhere safe to go. Unless Maya had an idea. Wild, ambitious, probably impossible. But then, everything about this had been impossible. What if we don't release them? Not yet. What if they become ambassadors? She explained her vision. The bears living semi-wild, protected land, but accessible, teaching humans, inspiring change, not a zoo, not captivity, something new, a bridge between worlds. The idea sparked debate, ethical concerns, practical issues, but also excitement, hope, because these bears had already changed so much. Imagine what more they could do, who they could reach, how they could heal both species. Rosie, of course, had the final word. She walked to the mother bear, looked up at those wise eyes. "You stay. Be friends." The bear lowered her massive head, sniffed the child, made that soft sound. Agreement, understanding, love, all 3. Plans began immediately. Land was donated, habitats designed, not cages, spaces, connected to the wild but safe from it, where bears could be bears, but also teachers, healers, bridges. The oil company funded it, guilty conscience and good PR. Environmental groups supported it. Real change and visible symbols. The indigenous community blessed it. Old wounds healing through new connections. But the best part was the children. They came by the hundreds, saw the bears, heard the story, left different, changed, carrying seeds of compassion that would grow for generations. Maya watched it all unfold. Her spontaneous beach walk had become this movement, this awakening, because she'd listened to her daughter, because Rosie had seen past species to spirit. "Mama," Rosie said one day, watching the bears in their new space, happy, healthy, home. "Bears, happy now. We did good?" Maya hugged her close. "Yes, baby, we did good. We all did good." The sun set over the new habitat, golden light through the trees. The bears played in the stream. Clean water, no oil, no fear, just life, being lived, being shared, being celebrated. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, more bears to save, more beaches to clean, more hearts to change. But tonight there was peace, there was hope, there was proof that love could triumph, that trust could heal, that a child's pure heart could save us all. The mother bear called to her cub. Dinner time. Normal life, beautiful life. The cub ran to her. Strong now, healed, they disappeared into their den. But their story remained, growing, spreading, changing the world, one heart at a time. Because sometimes that's how the world changes. Not through force, not through law, but through a baby's compassion, a mother's love, a moment of trust between species, and the courage to believe in impossible things. The ripples were just beginning, the healing just starting, the bridges just forming. But the foundation was solid, built on love, reinforced by hope, maintained by the pure hearts who saw no barriers. Only family, only connection, only life, precious and shared. And in her small bed that night, Rosie dreamed of bears, flying bears, swimming bears, dancing bears, all of them free, all of them safe, all of them loved, just like they deserved, just like everything deserved. In the world her compassion was helping to create. Morning came with unexpected news. Dr. Foster burst into the center, phone in hand. His face was pale, excited, worried, all at once. "We have a problem," he said, then corrected himself. "No, not a problem. A situation, maybe a miracle." Everyone gathered around. Maya held Rosie. Joseph stood near the window. The mother bear lifted her head, sensing the change in energy. "I just got a call from a ranger station up north. 50 miles from here, they found something. Or rather, something found them." He paused, building suspense without meaning to. His hands shook slightly. Bears, 3 of them. A female and 2 cubs. They walked right up to the station. The female is injured, oil on her fur, burns, just like our cub, but here's the thing. He showed them a photo on his phone. The female bear had distinctive markings, a white patch on her chest, scars on her shoulder. Joseph made a sound, recognition, shock. "That's her sister," he said quietly. "Our mother, Bear's sister. I've seen them together years ago, before the spill." Maya felt her heart skip. Sisters. Bear sisters. Both affected by the same disaster. One saved, one still suffering. It was too much coincidence, too much connection. But why would she go to humans? Dr. Foster wondered. Wild bears don't do that unless ... Unless she heard, Joseph finished. Bears communicate. Over distances, through ways we don't understand. She heard about her sister, about the healing, about the trust. It seemed impossible. But so did everything else that had happened. Bears seeking human help. Following some invisible trail of hope. Coming to the only place that had shown compassion. "We have to help them," Maya said. No question, no debate, just truth. But the logistics were complicated. 3 more bears, limited space, resources already stretched. And these bears were truly wild. No Rosie to bridge the gap. No beach encounter to build trust. "I'll go," Joseph said. "Bring them here. Speak the old words. See if the trust transfers." "I'm coming too," Maya insisted. "And Rosie, if these bears came because they heard about us, then we need to be there." Dr. Foster wanted to protest. Safety concerns, protocol. But he'd learned something these past weeks. Sometimes protocol had to bend. Sometimes magic needed room to work. They prepared quickly. Medical supplies, transport cages, security team. The mother bear watched them go, made sounds, not distressed, more like encouragement. Did she know? Could she sense her sister's need? The drive took 2 hours. Rosie slept most of the way. Maya held her close, thinking, worrying. What if this was a mistake? What if the wild bears attacked? What if trust couldn't transfer? But deeper than worry was certainty. This was right. This was necessary. The oil spill had created wounds. Now they had chances to heal them. One bear at a time, one family at a time. The ranger station appeared through the trees, small, isolated, and surrounded by bears. Not just the 3 they'd heard about, more, 6, 7, 8 bears, all sitting, waiting, watching. "My God," Dr. Foster breathed. "It's a gathering." Joseph nodded slowly. "This happens sometimes, in the old stories. When something important is occurring, the bears come together, to witness, to participate." They parked carefully, stayed in the vehicles, observed. The injured female was obvious. Oil matted her fur, burns visible even from distance. Her cubs huddled close. Small, maybe 6 months old. Too young for this trauma. But the other bears were what made Maya's skin prickle. They sat in a rough circle, calm, patient, like they were waiting for something, for someone. Their eyes tracked the vehicles. Intelligent? Knowing. A ranger approached their car, young woman, nervous but professional. "They've been here since dawn," she said, "just appeared. Haven't moved, haven't threatened, just waiting." Joseph got out first, slow movements, hands visible. He began speaking, those same old words, the bear language, the ancient connection. The bears' ears perked, heads tilted, listening. Then Rosie woke up, looked out the window, saw the bears, and did what only Rosie would do. She clapped, happy, excited. More bears! Mama, look! Baby bears! The injured female's head snapped up, focused on the car, on the child's voice. She made a sound, low, questioning, almost like recognition. "She knows," Joseph said quietly. "Somehow she knows this is the child who helped her sister." Maya opened the door, couldn't stop herself. Had to trust the moment. She lifted Rosie out, stood there, mother and child, facing a circle of bears, insane, beautiful, right. The injured female stood, limped forward. Her cubs followed, scared but trusting their mother. She stopped 10 feet away, close enough to charge, close enough to kill, but her eyes weren't aggressive. They were pleading. "Help?" Rosie said, one word, simple, pure. The bear made that sound again, agreement, definitely agreement. Then something extraordinary happened. The other bears stood too, formed a corridor, from the injured family to the vehicles, like an honor guard, like they were ensuring safe passage, protecting the moment. Joseph's voice caught. "I've never seen this, never heard of this. They're helping us help her." Dr. Foster got the medical supplies, set up a treatment area, right there, in the open, surrounded by wild bears who watched like a medical gallery, silent, attentive, invested. The injured female lay down, let them approach, let them touch. Her trust was absolute. Based on what? Stories from her sister? Some bear communication network they couldn't fathom? Faith in the child who showed no fear? Dr. Foster worked, cleaning wounds, assessing damage. The cubs stayed close. Sometimes the other bears would make sounds. Encouragement, commentary, who could know? Second-degree burns, infected. She's been suffering for days, maybe weeks. His hands moved carefully, professionally, but his voice held wonder. She must have traveled injured, seeking help. How did she know where to come? One of the cubs ventured closer, braver than its sibling. It sniffed at Rosie. She giggled, held out her hand. The cub licked it, tasted, approved, then did something amazing. It turned to the other bears, made a sound, almost like an announcement. "This small human is safe." The atmosphere shifted, relaxed. The watching bears sat back down, still alert but no longer tense. The treaty had been confirmed, by a cub, by a child, by innocence recognizing innocence. Treatment continued, antibiotics injected, burns cleaned, fur carefully shaved around wounds. The female bear endured it all. Trusting. her eyes often finding Rosie, as if the child was her anchor, her proof that this pain had purpose. "We need to transport them," Dr. Foster said. "She needs ongoing care. The cubs need observation. But how do we move them with all these witnesses?" Joseph had an idea. "We don't separate them. We invite them all. Make it a procession. Bears understand ceremony, ritual. Make this bigger than medical treatment. Make it about community." It sounded insane. A parade of bears following their injured to the rescue center. But nothing about this was normal. Why start now? They prepared the transport cage, made it comfortable, inviting. The injured female understood. Walked in willingly, her cubs followed, no fear now, only trust. Then Joseph did something unexpected. He walked to each watching bear, spoke to them individually, invited them, used gestures, words, respect. They listened, considered. Some stood to follow. Others turned back to the forest. Their choice, their decision. In the end, 5 bears joined the procession, including one massive male, scarred, old, clearly a patriarch. He took position at the rear, guardian, protector, honor guard. The drive back was surreal. 3 vehicles, bears in cages and walking alongside, rangers clearing traffic, phones recording everywhere. The news would explode again. But that was tomorrow's problem. Rosie sang to the cubs during the drive. Nursery rhymes, made-up songs. They listened, calmed. Their mother visible in the cage ahead. The escort bears keeping pace, a pilgrimage of the wounded seeking healing. The rescue center staff stood frozen when they arrived. The morning briefing hadn't prepared them for this. A parade of bears, wild ones, following voluntarily. It defied every principle of wildlife behavior, but the mother bear in the habitat knew. She stood at the fence, watching, waiting. When she saw her sister, she made a sound, deep, emotional. The injured female responded. Sisters reuniting. Family recognizing family across species boundaries. The logistics were nightmarish. Where to put everyone. How to treat the injured with an audience. How to maintain safety with so many wild bears. But somehow it worked. Everyone adapted, improvised. Let magic guide practical. The escort bears were given access to a large enclosed area, not captivity, visiting space. They could leave whenever they wanted. Most stayed, watching, waiting, being part of something unprecedented. Treatment began immediately. The injured female was worse than her sister had been. Infection had set in, fever, dehydration. Dr. Foster worked urgently. The cubs were examined too, malnourished but unburned, lucky, or protected by their mother's sacrifice. Rosie moved between all of them, the patients, the visitors, the staff, a tiny ambassador speaking toddler language to bears who seemed to understand, or at least appreciate the effort. "This is unprecedented," Dr. Foster kept saying. Half medical notes, half amazement. Wild bears accepting medical intervention. Multiple bears cooperating. Generational trauma being addressed through interspecies trust. But the real breakthrough came that evening. The injured female was stable but weak. Her cubs were fed and safe. The escort bears had settled in their temporary space. Everyone was exhausted, emotional, overwhelmed. That's when the patriarch bear did something unexpected. He walked to the fence separating him from the treatment area. Stood there, watching the injured female. Then he began to vocalize. Not growls, not roars, something else. Almost like singing? Joseph gasped. "I've heard of this. In the oldest stories, healing songs, bears singing to their sick. But I thought it was myth, metaphor." Other bears joined in. A chorus, deep, rhythmic, hypnotic. The injured female's eyes opened, focused, her breathing steadied. The monitors showed changes: heart rate, brain waves, measurable responses to unmeasurable medicine. Music therapy, Dr. Foster whispered. They're doing music therapy. How do they know? How is this possible? Rosie knew, or didn't need to know. She just acted. Walked to the fence, added her voice, high, sweet, wordless, blending with the bear's song, creating harmony across species. Maya cried, couldn't help it, watching her baby sing with bears, healing bears, in a world where such things weren't supposed to happen, but were happening, right here, right now. The singing continued, staff gathered, listening, some joining in, humming, harmonizing. The rescue center became a cathedral, sacred space where science and spirit met, where healing transcended understanding. The injured female slept peacefully that night. First real rest in weeks. Her cubs curled against her. Safe. The escort bears maintained vigil, taking turns, watching, protecting, being present. By morning, news had spread. Videos of the bear parade, the singing, the unprecedented gathering. Scientists wanted to study it. Religious leaders called it miraculous. Indigenous elders nodded knowingly. The bears were teaching again. But inside the center it was just about healing, one day at a time. The injured female improved rapidly, like her sister before her. Like the power of community accelerated recovery. Her cubs grew braver, playing with Rosie, learning trust. The escort bears became regular visitors, coming and going, wild but connected. They brought others sometimes, injured birds, orphaned raccoons, as if the center had become known in the animal world, a safe place, a healing place. Maya tried to make sense of it, failed, stopped trying. Some things didn't need explanation, just acceptance, just participation, just wonder at the world's hidden connections. Weeks passed. The sisters grew strong together. Their cubs played together, learned from each other. The oil burns healed, fur regrew. But the real healing was deeper, trust restored, faith renewed, bridges built. The oil company executives visited, saw the bears, saw Rosie singing to them, left changed, increased funding, expanded programs. Not just guilt now, genuine transformation. The bears had that effect. Environmental laws changed. Protective regulations strengthened. Not through lobbying, through story, through images of bears trusting humans, of humans deserving trust, of children showing the way. Joseph brought more elders. They performed ceremonies, blessed the healing, shared more stories, bears as teachers, as relatives, as mirrors of our better selves, ancient wisdom finding modern proof. The world is watching, someone said, and it was. Documentary crews, researchers, pilgrims, all coming to see the impossible, to witness trust, to learn from bears and babies. But at the center of it all was still just Rosie, playing with cubs, singing to mothers, showing everyone that love didn't need translation, that compassion crossed all boundaries, that healing was always possible. One day, the escort bears left. All at once, early morning. They stood at the fence, made their sounds. Farewells, thanks, promises. Then walked back to the forest. Job done, witness complete. Will they come back? Someone asked. Joseph smiled. They never really leave. They're part of the story now, part of the healing. They'll be watching, protecting, ready if needed again. The sisters were ready for release too, healed, strong, their cubs healthy. But where to go? The oil spill damage remained. Their old territory was still poisoned. The challenge that had no easy answer. Until it did. The phone rang. Government officials. A proposal. Unprecedented like everything else. A new protected area. Cleaned land, safe territory, not just for these bears, for all displaced wildlife, funded by oil company settlements, managed by indigenous councils, studied by scientists, open to limited public education. A living laboratory, they called it, where humans and wildlife coexist, learn from each other, heal together. It would take months to prepare, planning, construction, restoration. But it would happen, because the bears had shown it was possible, because a baby had proven trust could triumph, because the world needed examples of hope. Maya watched Rosie with the bears, her daughter who'd started all this, who saw no barriers, who loved without limit, who'd changed the world by refusing to accept its divisions. What have we done? She wondered aloud. What needed doing? Joseph answered. What always needed doing. We remembered we're all related, all family, all one. The bears seemed to understand. The sisters touched noses. Their cubs played together. Soon they'd be wild again, but different. Ambassadors between worlds, teachers of trust, healers of separation. And somewhere in the forest, the escort bears watched, waited, ready to witness whatever came next. Because the story wasn't ending, it was beginning. The real work of healing had just started. And everyone, human and bear, was part of it now. Rosie summed it up perfectly, as only a child could, looking at all the bears, all the people, all the impossible made real. She spread her arms wide and declared, "Family." And for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, it was true. The day of release came 6 months later. Not just release. Transformation. The new protected area was ready. 50,000 acres of restored coastline, cleaned beaches, pristine forest, rivers running clear again. A miracle of environmental restoration funded by guilt, inspired by hope, and driven by the image of a baby girl singing with bears. The whole world watched, cameras everywhere. But respectfully now, distantly, everyone understood this was sacred. This was bigger than news. This was history healing itself. Maya stood at the edge of the release site, Rosie in her arms. The child had grown in these months. Still small, still innocent, but carrying wisdom no 3-year-old should have. The wisdom of connection, of trust, of love without borders. Dr. Foster checked his equipment one last time. Medical supplies would remain on site. A small facility built into the landscape. Not intrusive, just present, just in case. Because the bears had taught them that help should always be available. That trust, once given, must be honored forever. Joseph Whitehawk led the ceremony. Indigenous elders from many tribes had come. This was their land being returned, their relatives being freed, their prophecies being fulfilled, the ones about children leading the healing, about animals showing the way, about the time when walls would fall. The transport vehicles arrived slowly, carefully. The 2 sister bears rode separately, each with their cubs. They'd lived side by side these months, healing together, raising their babies together, showing humans what family meant. Now they would be wild again, but the bond would remain, the trust would endure. The cages opened simultaneously. For a moment, nothing happened. The bears sat, waiting, looking around, as if asking permission, as if saying goodbye, as if making sure this was real. Then Rosie spoke, clear and simple. Home now, go home. The first cub moved, the one who'd been burned. Scarred, but strong now. It stepped out, sniffed the air, clean air, free air, its eyes bright with recognition. This smelled right, this felt right, this was home. Its mother followed. The bear who'd trust humans in her darkest hour, who'd let them save her baby, who'd change the world by accepting help. She stood tall now, proud, healed, ready. Her sister emerged next, the one who'd traveled injured to find hope, who'd brought witnesses to her healing, who'd proven that trust could spread, that stories could save lives. That bears knew more than humans imagined. The cubs tumbled out together, playing already, free. They'd known captivity as healing, would know freedom as gift, would carry both experiences forward, bridging worlds their mothers had connected. Then something unexpected happened. The bears didn't run to the forest, didn't disappear immediately. Instead, they walked to where the humans stood, the whole group. Medical staff, indigenous elders, government officials, documentary crews, everyone who'd been part of this journey. They formed a line, mother bears and cubs, facing the human line, mirror images, two species, one moment. And in that moment, Maya understood they were saying goodbye, and thank you, and see you again, all at once. The massive patriarch bear emerged from the forest, the one who'd led the healing songs. He'd been waiting, watching, protecting. He approached slowly, dignified, ancient, wise. He walked past the bear line, past the human line, straight to Rosie. Maya's heart stopped. The bear was huge, powerful, wild. But Rosie showed no fear, never had, never would. The patriarch lowered his massive head, touched his nose to Rosie's outstretched hand, gentle as a whisper, soft as a blessing. Then he made a sound, deep, resonant, final. Joseph gasped, translated through tears. He's naming her, in the old language. Bear friend, bear sister, bear heart. She belongs to both worlds now, protected by both, blessed by both. The patriarch stepped back, looked once more at the assembled humans, then turned and walked into the forest. The signal, the release, the beginning. The sister bears followed, their cubs racing ahead, playing, exploring, being free. But at the forest edge, they paused, turned back, made their sounds. Farewell sounds, promise sounds, connection sounds. Then they were gone, swallowed by green, returned to wild, but not lost, never lost. Because the bonds remained, the trust endured, the healing continued. People cried, openly, proudly, even the government officials, even the hardened journalists, because they'd witnessed something pure, something impossible, something necessary. But Rosie didn't cry. She waved, smiled, blew kisses to the forest. "See you later," she called, as if this was just another playdate ending, as if bears and humans visiting was normal now, as if the world had changed, and maybe it had. In the months that followed, the protected area thrived. The bears were seen occasionally, healthy, happy, wild, but aware. Sometimes they'd appear at the forest edge when Rosie visited, never approaching, just watching, just confirming. Family checking on family. Other animals came too, deer, birds, foxes. All careful at first, then bolder, as if the bears had told them. This place is safe. These humans can be trusted. Some of them, the ones who sing, the ones who heal, the ones who remember we're all related. The oil company transformed, really transformed, not just words, actions. The CEO's daughter visited the bears, met Rosie, left different, started a youth movement, children demanding better, companies listening, because the image of a baby saving a burning bear cub was stronger than any argument, more convincing than any threat. Laws changed globally, protection increased, funding flowed, not enough, never enough, but more than before, because the story spread, translated into every language, adapted to every culture, but always the same core. A child, a bear, trust, healing, hope. Scientists studied the site, documented behaviors, published papers. But the real research was simpler. People learning to listen. Animals learning to trust. Earth learning to heal, when given the chance, when shown the way, when connected by love. Maya wrote a book, not for fame, for memory, for the future, so the story would survive, so the lessons would spread, so children everywhere would know, would believe, would act like Rosie, like the bears, like the world needed them to. Joseph taught the old words to new students, indigenous and non-indigenous, anyone who wanted to learn, to remember, to connect, the bear language, the earth language, the heart language, all the same, all necessary, all almost lost, all being found. Dr. Foster expanded the center, treated more animals, trained more vets, but differently now. Teaching trust along with medicine, teaching connection along with science, teaching that healing meant more than fixing bodies. It meant mending relationships, between species, between worlds, between past and future. The beach where it all started was cleaned, restored, made into a memorial, not a sad place, a sacred place, where disaster became opportunity, where cruelty became compassion, where fire became healing, where a baby's pure heart changed everything. People came there to remember, to hope, to promise, to change. They brought their children, told the story, pointed to the spot, where the oil had spread, where the cub had burned, where Rosie had acted, where the world had shifted, and sometimes, just sometimes, when the moon was right, when the tide was perfect, when hearts were open, bears would appear on that beach, the sisters, their grown cubs, others. They'd stand at the water's edge, looking out, remembering, honoring, then disappear, back to their world, their wild, their freedom. But Rosie knew they were there, always knew, could feel them, hear them, love them, across distance, across difference, across impossibility, because she'd touched their hearts, and they'd touched hers, forever. Years passed. Rosie grew, but never outgrew, never forgot, never stopped believing, became a voice, a bridge, a hope, teaching others what the bears had taught her. That walls were illusions, that fear was choice, that love was stronger, always stronger. She'd take her own children to the beach, to the forest, to the places where worlds met, and tell them the story, their birthright, their responsibility, their gift, to see past surface, to trust the impossible, to heal the broken, to sing the sacred, to be the bridge, and the bears would come, new generations, but carrying the memory, the story, the trust. They'd watch from the trees, guard from the shadows, appear in dreams, remind in whispers. We're still here, still family, still connected, still one. The oil company became a conservation leader. The beach became a pilgrimage site. The rescue center became a model. The protected area became a paradise. The story became a legend. The legend became truth. The truth became hope. The hope became change. The change became normal. The new normal. The better normal. The necessary normal. All because a baby saw a burning bear cub and acted. With pure heart, with no fear, with perfect love, and the world, finally, after so long, remembered how to follow, how to trust, how to heal, how to hope, how to change, how to love, the last image, always the same, in every telling, in every language, in every heart, a tiny girl, a massive bear, a beach, a fire, a bucket of water, a moment of choice, a lifetime of consequence, a world of possibility, born from compassion, raised by trust, released into wild hope, forever free, forever connected, forever family, and in her small bed, decades later. Rosie still dreamed of bears, but now she knew they dreamed of her too, of the child who saved them, who trusted them, who sang with them, who proved that humans could be family, could be worthy, could be loved. The healing complete, the circle closed, the story ended. but really, truly, finally, just beginning.